Welcome to episode 190 of the Campus Comics Cast. If you hear a long pause during the recording, it's probably because Scott Reed, that's me, is too busy watching Olympic beach volleyball. Mike, introduce yourself and tell us what sport you're watching at the Olympics this year.
Okay, well, I'm Mike, like you said, and I'd like to be somewhat different, but I was just looking up. I didn't know which one, if it was I knew it wasn't the triathlon, but I knew there was one involving swimming and horses, and it's actually the pentathlon. It's one of the most unique events and obscure as well, but it involves the competitors starting off by show jumping with a horse they're not familiar with. Then they move to 2 rounds of fencing, and then they cool off with a nice 200-meter freestyle swim, and then the final portion is they do a laser run where they take turns between running and shooting at targets. So it is the most ridiculous, and I can't even say it's my favorite. It's just what I want to see the most, I guess. If I had to say my favorite, it's women's gymnastics. And that's boring. Everybody likes that probably the most. So.
Shad, same question.
I have historically not watched the Olympics. It's just not something I get into, but I do have a soft spot for pole vaulting, and I think that they pole vault at the Olympics because I used to pole vault when I was in high school.
Ah, cool.
Okay. All right. Well, we're here to actually talk about the August previews and pre-orders from Next Phase. Now, before we get into the catalog, is it just me, or are there a lot of one-shots in this catalog?
Yeah,
there is it feels like a little more, yeah.
Yeah, I just thought I was seeing one shot constantly through the catalog this time. So I just don't know if it's just something that jumped out at me this time, or if it was actually there are more of them. But let's jump straight into Ahoy. I'm on page 3, I guess. All right, and you have I guess it's page 6. You have Toxic Avenger #1. Of course, this is that really not very good 80s trauma movie. I think I saw this movie one time, didn't stick with me. I guess we're getting a reboot of this movie. Peter Dinklage is in the movie, but not playing the Toxic Avenger. I know you corrected me on that once before. So I'm not particularly excited about this book, but it is something that has a little zeitgeist associated with it. So either of you gonna pick this up?
It does not appeal to me at all.
All right.
I don't know.
It is interesting to see Ahoy getting I guess a licensed property, if that's what this technically is. I don't know that I've seen them with a licensed property before.
Yeah, that's true. Because actually there was a license for this with Marvel many years ago.
Okay.
I think it was just a retelling of the movie, but I could be mistaken. And there was of course, the cartoon. I think there was a cartoon edition of the comic as well. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't have anything till DC, so
Same.
Go ahead, Mike.
I'm just gonna say the key word to describe this character is gross, and I just don't do gross really. It's like the Mad Balls series,
right?
Or Garbage Pail Kids or whatever.
Right. Mike, you got anything before DC?
Before DC, I do not, because Image is after DC, correct?
Correct.
I believe so,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So all right. I'm just going to go straight to page 45. I'm going to get my rant out of the way, so Mike, you can hopefully say something good about this. But DC's new initiative is all in. They haven't even finished Absolute Power, and they're already talking about how great this next event's going to be, and we don't even know what's going to happen in the previous event. And because everyone needs a new jumping on point for DC Comics, because apparently Dawn of DC was 12 months ago, and that's too far in the past. Now, this time we've got Scott Snyder involved, so unfortunately, we're not just going to have a good story. It's going to be some universe-threatening event, because that's all that Scott Snyder writes anymore. And spoilers, here's advanced spoilers for you. I'm going to tell you everything's going to happen in All In without even having read any of these solicits. All right? Darkseid shows up, the heroes get defeated, the heroes regroup, the heroes win in the end, and nothing changes in the DC universe. There you go. That's All In for you right there. Tell me I'm wrong.
Well, that's quite the simplification of it. In typical Snyder fashion, by the description that I've seen here, it's not just any old Darkseid. It's an alternate version of Darkseid, of course. So why they need an alternate version that is even more evil than the one, because the one that we have, because he's sort of the epitome of evil in the DC universe. I don't know, but they sort of, the way they describe this, it's not in this, it is in this catalog, but they have the flip book that they're basically talking about. This other Darkseid comes over as like an incursion to Earth, and Superman has to gather all of Earth's heroes, and it's a I don't have as much of a problem with All In, because it's more of a like initiative than it is an event, but it is sort of an event too, because you got Darkseid involved here. I am very dubious of these alternate versions, these absolute versions of Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman, and we can talk more about that as we go. But yeah, I'm not completely out of it, but I'm kind of skeptical. The only thing that really I can say that I'm sure I'm happy about is it's bringing the Justice League back eventually.
Eventually.
Yep.
The key word there is eventually.
So. Well, it's going to be like
not right now.
It'll be November, I think, is when they said. We'll probably see it in the next catalog or two.
Yeah, is that the one that Jeff Lemire's writing?
He's not writing it. He's writing something. I think he's writing one of those. It's Wade and Mora.
Oh, okay, that's right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's that's the Justice League Unlimited, right? Is
yes.
What Wade and Mora are doing. That's next month, and Lemire's doing the Absolute Flash, and then maybe it's JSA.
Oh, I think it is JSA.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm kind of mixing up what we're seeing in this catalog and what I've read online. So
right. Yeah.
We're gonna confuse everybody.
So it sounds like we're gonna get the death metal version of Darkseid is what this is gonna be about.
Probably something like that. Which I'm with you though. That irritates me, because the whole death metal, the whole dark multiverse concept, grated on me to no end. I just did not like that series. But anyway, to be somewhat positive, they're using this as a launch for the Justice League, and it's, as Shad put it, it's going to be unlimited, capitalizing on the popularity of the animated series that features a lot of different characters. And I've always thought that the Justice League needs to be that core team with a very big bench.
The one thing about the All In special is, and it seems like maybe he's attached to everything, is Wes Craig, who I loved his artwork from Deadly Class and then his Kaya series at Image that he writes and draws. I'm interested to see how his artwork, which is, to use a Scott word, stylized, in a mainstream DC book, and not just like a side story, but he's one of the main artists in the main initiative book. And his cover looks great. I really am digging his variant cover that they have there. But I'm just curious to see how that's going to play out.
Yeah.
Which cover is his?
It's
here it is. The Wes Craig Craig variant.
That would be the one. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Read, Scott.
Yeah, his style should be interesting to see. Yeah, I mean, it's not to say.
Kind of has a Tim Sale look to me, just from this cover.
A little bit, yeah, it does.
Yeah, not quite as, maybe not quite as refined as Tim Sale, but
I could see that.
Yeah,
I can
see it a little bit. So.
Something I've seen different artists, different creators treat the Omega beams differently, but it's one of my favorite, I don't know what you'd call it, weapons, or the way it works is that it's not a straight line. It zigzags and kind of tracks its target, and they're really doing that well in these images. It's not just a straight, firing of the weapon.
Mm-hmm.
But on the, I'm not a big flip book guy. Oh my gosh, That's just me admitting I'm being lazy, but I don't know that I was.
Well, it's kind of funny that they're doing flip books now with the emphasis on digital. It was like I can't remember one of the Batman books a few years ago
Hmm.
that they actually had in the comic. The page was printed upside
Uh
down
huh.
deliberately, not on accident. It was done deliberately.
Yep.
But when they moved that over to digital, they flipped it over
Hmm.
so that you had no idea that that was going on whenever you read it digitally instead of physical. And I'm going to bet money they're going to have to do that with the digital version of these books because so even if they don't and you flip your iPad over, well then it's going to flip the image upside down
Right.
again because you have rotated,
You're just gonna chase it the
unless you're
whole
going
time.
to
Yeah,
lock the
you got to
yeah
lock the screen, and
yeah
yeah.
you got to lock the screen, and who wants to do that?
Hmm.
All right, my next thing's not till 52, I think. So
I've got page 44, which is the absolute power, and it's just what I was going to talk about, which we already did, is about the Justice League coming up, up
okay.
from the ashes. Justice is reborn. It's kind of it's not announcing like we've seen online, but it's definitely hinting around at it. So, but yeah, 53 is my next item. Do you?
Okay, I'm just gonna say on 52, unless Shad has something before 52.
No, I mean we just have the issue 1 of the Absolute Trinity, their individual books where they lose everything but their power. It seems like.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and to me, it's like, okay, DC, and this is again another Scott mini rant here, but here at 53, Batman 153. Now it has the all-in label, but it's still Zdarsky's run,
Yeah.
right? So basically, we're all in, except we're not all in because we're going to keep these other tiles going just like they have
Mm.
been going. They're going to be regular, and they're not going to be affected by anything that's in all in. So they should really call this half in as opposed to all in because they obviously,
So
at least with New 52. I mean, as bad as a lot of that was, that was much closer to being all in than what this
that's
all
true.
in is.
Yeah, the way that I heard Scott Snyder talk about this, because it's his whole initiative, is that it very much is, like Mike said, more of an initiative and not a reboot of anything, and that they're starting new storylines with at this, and it's just more of an awareness of DC and just trying to get readers into it. And I hear that they're bringing back the Bullet logo. As well.
For the, I don't know if is that going to be for the books, for the comics, and for the movies, or is it just the movies?
I don't know. I guess when I read it, I just assumed it was it was for comics, but I realized that when you're reading news for San Diego Comic-Con, you're not necessarily just getting comic news at all. So yeah, I'm not sure. I guess that was just me.
Yeah, well, it was James Gunn that announced it on the video I seen, so
okay.
I assumed it was the new DC Media deal.
Gotcha. I heard starting in October was what I had heard, but so I just assumed comics.
It feels like they would want to do both just for consistency
Exactly, yeah.
between their
Right.
media lines.
Yeah.
Otherwise, there's confusion about that's the DC logo. Oh, that's
Right,
the DC
yeah.
logo. So who knows?
I actually want to talk a little bit about, since I didn't realize they were on those pages right before, the absolute versions of Batman, Wonder Woman, and Superman. I just want to quickly talk about their designs because that's really all I know about them. And to go back to what you were saying about, is this is an initiative, but I think it's sort of akin to like Heroes Reborn. They're putting them in different, but more like the Ultimate Universe for DC.
Right.
It's like a
That's a good
it's
way
like
to put it.
a alternative. And then they'll probably weigh it out and say, well, if the Ultimate or the Absolute version is more popular, they'll probably turn, they'll focus more on the Absolute versions. But I do not like the Batman design at all. If you look at page 49, I don't know what he's doing there with his little bat wings with with the little claws at the end. It seems a little odd. Nick Dragata is the artist. I mean, it's not like it's bad work, but I don't like the design. And then here, and with the Superman, Absolute Superman, he's got that hair over one eye. Reminds me of the lead singer from the hair rock band Rat, that has the hair covering his eye. Although this is written by Jason Aaron and the art's by Rafa Sandoval. Again, I don't know much more than what I'm seeing here, but a little annoyances. But then you got Wonder Woman.
When I first looked at the Superman cover, I thought he was wearing a 3/4 length sleeve, and then wait a minute, that's actually, it goes all the way down past his wrist. I didn't.
Yeah, he's got
it
some
took me a
sort of
second
like gauntlet or something. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then Wonder Woman, she's on some sort of a flying.
And tatted up.
Yeah, and she's got her big tribal sleeve tattoo. Again, that's. Oh my God, am I old? Why don't I just shut up about this? So, bring back the '60s.
I was gonna say you might be. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll shut up, and because this may be. Actually, the Wonder Woman and the Superman aren't that bad. It's just different. But again, you got to make it somehow distinctive from the normal universe, I guess, visually. And Kelly Thompson's writing that, and I've put a lot of faith in her writing.
Yeah. The big thing, and we say this all the time, but DC calls this a jumping on point, but we know that every jumping on point is also a
jumping off point.
Jump around.
So I suspect they will probably. I think they'll lose more readers than gain in the long run. So.
If they keep parallel storytelling going, they may not. If you get the traditionalists that still have the regular runs, they may stick with that. And they've done weirder things. I mean, just think of the Electrical Superman. I mean.
But that was in the regular run. That wasn't
True.
a whole new run. Yeah. And Marvel did this a long time ago with the Ultimates line, and eventually it ran really well for a while, and then kind of collapsed in on itself.
Yeah.
So it's and now it's been rebooted again. So I don't know.
Well, in the Superman proper title, still written by Joshua Williamson, and I thought I read somewhere that he was going to take a break from writing because he was kind of like burned out, but I must have been wrong because he's still at it. But he's got Dan Mora doing the art now, and this introduces Lois Lane as Superwoman. Now that
it doesn't introduce. That's been done before.
Brings her back as Superwoman.
Yeah.
Right. So that's actually my point I was going to make. She had her own title, I think, for a while back in the Rebirth era, maybe.
Rebirth.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I had for that. Then,
my next thing's not till 68. So
I just want to throw in there for Action Comics number 1070 on page 55. Again, another book. It's like Mark Waid is, this is like DC according to, like, what is the world according to Garp? Yeah, this is DC according to Mark Waid, and it'll be, to me, for the most part, it'll be good. But in 1070, I don't really even remember why I was pulling.
Well, it's going weekly.
Mon-El. It's going
probably.
weekly. Yeah, Action Comics Weekly.
Yeah.
And I think Mon-El is going to be featured. Mon-El from the Legion, who is has very Superman-like powers, is going to be the lead in at least some of these stories. And I'm more excited about Action Comics than I am anything right now. And then lastly for me, it's before whatever page you had was 58. I have Nightwing number 119 on page 58. It's featuring a new creative team with Dan Waters and Dexter Soy. Now those names sound very Marvel-like. Didn't Dan Waters spend a lot of time over at Marvel?
I have no idea.
Seems like he did. Again, that's a character I know that has had very high level of popularity and has success in his runs, and he's up to 119. I'd like to eventually try to start reading some of it. But Tom Taylor left, and I forget who the artist was, but he was very popular too.
All right.
Yeah.
Because the internet can never be wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Dan Waters did do a couple of books at Marvel. Oh, why did it redirect my page? Looks like he wrote for Loki, and let's see, it pulled up a page, and then Loki and some Moon Knight. Not a lot, but he has several books at Image, including The Six Fingers, Universal Monsters Creature from the Black Lagoon, Destro. Well, wait a minute. The creator. No, okay, hold on. These may just be. Okay, I don't think that's his creations. Hold on. It says latest releases. Okay, let me look. Let me click on one of these to see if he actually has a writer's credit. Okay, he does. All right, so Destro. So he looks like he's primarily working at Image.
Okay.
But Creature from Black Lagoon, Destro,
I've seen his name
Six
a lot.
Fingers.
I just thought it was at Marvel.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and he's apparently London based. So
Oh, really?
just saying.
I might have
There you
to.
go.
Yeah, just saying.
I'll reach out. See if he wants to meet for lunch.
And I guess
So I'm still on 68.
Tom,
Yeah.
I was just gonna say, I guess when Tom Taylor left Nightwing, he moved over to Detective because now Ram V's over, and this is Tom Taylor's is first issue at Detective with 1090 on page 57, with their new creative team as well.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm glad you said that because I kept asking, was it the end
Right.
of Ram
Is
V's
it over yet?
run?
Is it
'Cause
over
they
yet?
kept talking about they kept talking about the end of this creative team, but it's like, okay, was it both writer and
Right.
artist, or is it just the artist? We're gonna get Ram V gonna stay? 'Cause they never actually said.
Yeah.
So now we finally get the answer to that question, which is good to know. 68, Batman: The Long Halloween, the last Halloween, issue number 2. Each of these issues, I think Shad, you mentioned this last time, is going to have a different artist. So we have Klaus Janson as the artist on issue 2.
What page was that, Scott?
That's on page 68.
68. Well, before we go any farther, and I promise this is my last DC contribution, but
Mike, you can make as many DC contributions
This
as
is
you
true.
like.
gee, thanks.
You can talk about every page
Oh,
if that's what you
boy,
want to do.
I'm sure it's what everybody
It's your
wants.
podcast. You do that.
No, I only bring this up, and I know you guys already know this, but to the listeners, I'm a little punchy because it's midnight over here, and because I'm dedicated to my friends over there in the U.S., I am gonna record when it's most useful. So, the Flash number 14 reminds me that I just started reading this title, and we're 14 issues in, and it is fantastic. Cy Spurrier on the writing, and even though Diodato is not doing the art in 14 here, he's been the artist on the first several, and it's really, really good art too. So we'll, if we do a what we've been reading episode sometime in the near future, I'll be bringing this up.
Well, Mike, after I finish reading Omega Men, I'm going to start reading The Flash because I actually enjoyed the Rebirth run of Flash quite a bit. I think that was Joshua Williamson as well. I read that 7-8 volumes into that run of his, so I guess I like a good Flash story, so I'll have to give that a shot.
Okay.
69?
I'm good still.
All right, so Batman and Robin Year 1. All right, Mark Waid, Chris Samnee together again. I really enjoyed their run on Daredevil. Enjoyed their run on. They did a one volume of Black Widow. They did a Rocketeer story together. Typically, when these two work together, it's a home run. So I am definitely going to be in for this Batman and Robin Year 1. I don't see. I was looking for an issue count on this. Does it not have an issue count?
No, it doesn't say.
But it doesn't.
Doesn't say if it's.
So I can't imagine it's an ongoing.
No.
I would assume it's going to be like 6 issues, but who knows?
Yeah.
So I will be reading this hopefully as it comes out. So
Yeah, I like the art, and of course, Wade is like
wait.
a given.
My next thing's 76.
I got on 71 the Poison Ivy Swamp Thing feral trees. One thing I wanted, because you brought up one shots. I wonder if, because this is previews for the month of October, and it always seems like during the spooky month there's a bunch of one shots about horror and everything. So I'm wondering if that is why we're seeing more one shots this month than normal. One of them,
I bet you are correct.
being this book, The Feral Trees, as a one-shot. And I always enjoy a Swamp Thing story, and it seems like G. Willow Wilson is a pretty consistent writer. So with a one-shot, 48 pages, seems like something I would be into giving a shot to it. Giving a shot to a one-shot.
You know, G. Willow Wilson, with a name like that, she was born to write a plant-based character or
Absolutely.
characters like Swamp Thing and Poison Ivy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I think Mike Perkins did a run on Captain America as well. That was
Oh, okay.
pretty well received.
his art's so
art-wise.
good.
So
It's so good.
yeah,
I mean, there's been
I may have
some
to.
stuff that he's done that it was a little wonky, but I love his style, and the cover here looks fantastic. Now, this is one of them times where one of you guys comments on an issue, and I'm gonna write it down to buy myself. So now I will.
One of the few.
Yeah, well, more often than you know, I just don't say it out loud. Now, uh, what I'm happy to see is that Swamp Thing is depicted here as a very big, imposing character. The version I seen in Teen Titans a few issues ago was like our size. I mean, he was wearing a you know a cosplay costume, and it wasn't even big. It was or bulky. It was so strange. And I don't know I don't know if he was an alternate version or a kid's sidekick. I don't know, but he wasn't my Swamp
Well,
Thing, as they say.
yeah. Well, I suspect that part of his power set now is that he can absorb as much to be whatever size he wants to be.
Yeah,
I mean, think back to our JL Ape episode, right, where he was a gigantic
yeah,
ape-like version of the Swamp Thing. And if you even look at these variant covers, that the upper left corner one, he's just a little bit bigger than Poison Ivy.
yeah. That's true.
So he's not even consistent here on these covers as far as size-wise. So
Yeah.
they need those style guides, don't they?
That's
So they
right.
know how big these
Yeah.
characters actually are
They're getting
supposed to be.
confused.
What happened to those?
Or
That's
they
right.
or they
So
just need to remember to call one of us.
well, Mike, would you like to give out your phone number for? No. My next thing's on 76.
75, real quick, is DC Horror Presents #1. It's a horror story collection. More than anything, I wanted to point out that we no longer see the black label anywhere on these pages anymore either. As we're talking about logos and everything, I don't know when the last time I got a DC book is, because the only black label book I've been picking up is the John Constantine Dead in America series, and I haven't gotten it the last couple of months yet. So I'm not sure if Black Label still exists at this point. I'm not. I did some internet sleuthing and didn't find anything one way or another, but I find it odd.
We actually talked about this. Yeah, we talked about this
Did
last
we?
month, I
Oh, okay.
think. Yes, because you notice at the border, the background is
Yeah,
black.
that's it. Yeah.
So if you go to what is the actual first page, they still have the black label on the DC's rating labels. But last month, they actually had in here where it said black label, and that was that page number where it started. But here, let's see, is that what page is
That's
that? Is that what page are you on?
75.
Well, I mean, but what is it in
Oh,
the
32.
DC catalog? 32 in the DC catalog. So 32 in the DC catalog. I got to scroll back up here to the top. Well, see, they have 38 is where Beyond the DC Universe starts. They don't have anything down for page 32. So does it end on 37 in the DC catalog? As my voice cracks for some
Right.
reason.
I don't know. That's weird.
Let's see here. I'm gonna scroll down to page 37 of the DC portion of the catalog if I can get there fast
34
enough.
is Elseworlds.
Okay, but you notice on page 32, that's when it starts, and then 33, it's the last page. So those, I think 32 and 33 are their black label books.
And then, so what did it
Because
say outside of what page does it say is Beyond?
So it starts on 38, which is what? That's
Batman Full
That's
Moon.
even after the Elseworld stuff. Oh, but that's okay.
So
that
that
actually
does
has
say
the
Black
Black
Label.
Label
Yeah,
logo on.
you're right.
That does say Black Label. I think anything that has that 17 plus on it is considered Black
Oh,
Label.
okay.
So if you scroll back up and you look at the even the next one, which I'm shocked it is, but your DC Horror has a 17
you're right.
plus.
Okay.
It's got the black hexagon says
Yep.
17 plus. The next page, which is page 76 of the next phase catalog, DC Horror presents Creature Commandos. Smart for them to get this out there. We have that animated series coming really, really soon. So I'm kind of actually interested in this. I've read the Oh gosh, I've read some Frankenstein DC stuff recently. I guess was there a Seven Sons of or seven Soldiers of Victory that had Frankenstein, Mike?
Yes.
Okay, so I remember reading that. I'm surprised that the bride is not pictured here.
Hmm.
But I've enjoyed some of these Creature Commando stories that I've read, so I'm kind of excited for this which again I'm assuming it's a one shot for October,
Yeah, I was wondering
so
the
I'm
same
kind of looking
thing.
forward to that.
And written by
Yeah.
Polka Dot Man himself, Dave Dastmalchian.
Oh, that's right. Oh,
Oh,
okay. That's another reason
nice.
to pick that up. Yeah, another reason to pick that up. So, what he'd written something else. He's written
Oh
a few
yeah,
things recently as
he's
well.
like he's in the even the DC I think like 2 or 3 times this month, and then
Okay. Oh, wow. Okay.
what was the that Count Crowley book is his from
Oh, really?
Dark Horse.
Hmm.
That there's like three different series of that. He's writing quite a bit.
Oh, like the reluctant
Yes,
hunter.
that one. Yep. Uh-huh.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I didn't realize that was
Yep.
him. Okay. Because I know you'd mentioned that in the past, and I picked up the first volume of that and read it and enjoyed it, but I didn't realize that I didn't put two and two
Yeah,
together.
he seems to
So.
be having quite a career as a writer.
Okay, that's good to know. So yeah, Creature Commandos. I think it's going to be a good pickup, especially get you introduced to these characters before the animated
Mm-hmm.
series. Or is it a series or a one shot? It's just a movie.
I don't know. I also
Okay,
wrote
me
down
neither, so.
movie/series in my notes.
Okay. My next thing's page 81.
Just on the very next page, I want to bring up the Green Lantern Dark, and I didn't notice this on my first read through, but this is the Tangent Green Lantern. If you remember those characters that were
Mm-hmm.
written back in the 90s, this is clearly the Tangent version of Green Lantern, but they don't really give credit to that. They just kind of say it's, a post-apocalyptic Earth overrun by monsters. Um, Only one hero is left that wields the mystical green flame, but the design is clearly from the Tangent. And it's written by Tate Brumbaugh and art by Werther Della Dira. I'm probably going to pick that up just to compare to the original.
And for the record, Creature Commandos is an animated series that starts in December.
Series. Okay, thank you very much. Right, my next thing is still page. I've already forgot what page. 70 or 81. Excuse me.
Go for it.
All right, because we haven't had enough of these since the 90s. More glow in the dark covers.
Yes.
Batman Full Moon, number 1. Each featuring a glow in the dark cover. I assume it's just the A covers are going to be glow in the dark. I don't think that the B and C covers will be glow in the dark. I think it's just going to be these ones that are primarily the covers that are primarily white here will be our glow in the dark covers. But if you've just had a hankering for some glow in the dark, here's your chance. Batman Full Moon, which is marked as a Black Label book.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, I won't talk about it next month, I promise.
No, but hey, they didn't put it in the table of contents this time. So at least last month they had it in the table of contents. So they didn't this time. So
They just keep throwing me off. I don't
interior
know.
looks-
Yeah, they're horrible at they're making everything make sense in their preview
Yeah.
book sometimes.
yeah, no. I think they're like they should have actually put page 32 as the start of that other universes in that table of contents. I think they just have a mistake in the catalog. So
The Steven Subic that does the art on the Batman Full Moon, his interiors look great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, they look really creepy. They fit perfectly with if they're going for a horror book, like he's nailed it.
Yeah. Hmm.
I'm finished with DC. So whatever else the two of you have in
I'm
DC.
finished as well.
I am as well.
Okay. Well, I don't have anything up until Image, page 154. So you guys go until 154.
I am also
I'm
in Image.
Yep, and I'm at 164, so
Oh wow! So you're telling me I need to scroll really,
Go
really,
really
fast.
fast.
To
It
get
looks
down
like
to
you're
page
going to probably
154.
talk about We Called Them Giants.
We call them giants, yes. Okay, which is a hardcover. Now this is a compilation, which I am assuming means that it was probably printed on the web or on Comixology or something prior to this. Written by Kieran Gillen, art by Stephanie Hans. They did work together on Die, which that I'm concerned about this book because of the Kieran Gillen issue where things start really strong and then he muddies the waters for half the story and then tries to wrap it all up, sometimes too quickly. I'm hopeful that since this is maybe a little bit shorter and it is just going to be a one-shot graphic novel, that maybe we won't have that problem because we got a much smaller set of pages for this to happen. But I'm torn about picking this up because that issue again with his writing where it starts strong, goes weak like Once and Future, Die. They've been kind of they start strong, don't sustain it through, but now we've got a set 104 pages done. That's only the equivalent of like a little bit over 4 issues. So maybe we won't get too much extra injected in here. And if you're a serious fan, you can talk to your comic shop, and if your comic shop will order at least 20 copies of this, then they are also sending out signed book plates that have Kieran Gillen and Stephanie Hahn's signature on them so that you can then slap that into your copy of We Call Them Giants. So just as an FYI.
I see that.
That story seems cool. I love the artwork on it. It's definitely something that is up my alley to pick up potentially at some point.
Yeah. Okay, I'm glad you mentioned the art there because I want you to go through this story with me that we have here. So we're in this alley, there's some weird stuff going on in the sky. We have these 3 characters, right? 2 hiding behind the trash can, 1 up there. One says, what's going on? Looks like he goes walking towards it, starts talking back. Well, we better go tell Max, he'll want to know. Let's go. So they all go. So you see the 2 from behind the trash can come walking out. They go into the forest. There's only 2 of them walking out into the forest. Where did the 3rd person go for the next 3 pages? And then finally, you get to like the last page of the preview, and there are legs, but it doesn't look like that person because it's almost like they have a claw hand. So it's like, where did this person go? I'm so confused.
Yeah.
They're supposed to be.
And if you go,
again, that gives me pause.
The page numbers are consecutive there, so as far as like even the internal for the preview pages themselves it says 23, 24, 25, 26. So it's not like they skipped and just gave you samples of the book throughout it. It seems very consecutive.
Yeah. Yeah, and it looks like the story kind of flows, but it's just like there's something off here. So I don't know. Again, it gives me pause. I'm probably going to read this just for the record, but it gives me some concern. And maybe if I set my expectations a little low, then maybe I'll enjoy it more when I actually get it. 203 is my next thing. So.
All right, I got 182. What'd you say yours was, Mike?
164.
Okay.
And let me get to it.
Oh, Mike.
Okay, I was sitting on the couch here earlier, like at 8 o'clock my time, and I was so tired I just wanted to lay down. So yeah, just attribute this to my punchiness, and I was like, criminy, I gotta pick something. So that's what this is. It's Faster Than Light 3D Treasury Edition. Now, I do like Treasury Editions, okay, so that's what sold me. This may be absolute garbage, but I'm going to get it because it's Treasury. It's inglorious, as it's described, 10 by 13 in size pages.
And 3D. And 3D, so you can get out your red and blue glasses.
Yes. I mean, whatever.
Whatever.
You got your glow in the dark, now you got your 3D.
Yeah, it's novelty.
It's all here.
I've got the 50s 3D Batman book, so... And it's oversized too, so take that, mister. No, it was just an indulgence type thing that grabbed my attention, and I'm not really proud of it.
I'm not proud.
I think I read the first issue of that series, and I don't remember being particularly wowed by it. So.
Yeah. So I'm good until 231. So
I have 182, which is the Sacred Damned, the horizontal experiment. That's something totally different. The Horizon Experiment.
I got all kinds of ideas popping in my head now.
Absolutely, you do. This is also a one-shot and is described as a Muslim John Constantine and is written by the writer of the Miss Marvel and Moon Knight TV shows with artwork from Michael Walsh. Really what grabbed me here was the artwork. I thought was pretty cool. It wasn't. I don't know how to explain it, but it's just right up my alley as far as artwork goes. I really like John Constantine, and I personally enjoyed Miss Marvel a lot as a TV show. Moon Knight was okay. So
wait, what page was this?
this is 182.
82. Oh, okay.
I don't think though. Now the next page has some preview art, but I don't think that's for this story.
The one that starts with incident number 1.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I thought there was a book that was literally called. No, you're okay. It is all right. I thought there was a book called The Feeding, but
There
no,
is a
it
book
is.
called The
It is the
Feeding, too,
preview
yeah.
art. Never mind. I'm wrong. Yeah, because it says down here the Horizon experiment right there in the bottom of the last preview page. So okay, yeah, I saw that art and thought it was for The Feeding.
Oh, I got you.
So
You're just buying
Yeah,
all the
so I
one
did-
shots.
Right. Well, I mean, it's a really low commitment, So
Well,
much better that way.
I think that's an interesting spin on it. I mean, even though it's interesting because when they say Muslim John Constantine, John's not particularly religious. He just, I guess,
right.
lives in a Christian society, or he talks about the Christian devil and
Right.
and
Yeah, that's
gods
true.
and things.
Yeah.
I guess, yeah, but yeah, that alone makes me kind of wonder. Might be kind of interesting how that's portrayed.
And it makes me, with the title being The Sacred Damned, the Horizon Experiment, makes me think that there maybe is more of a larger world of the Sacred Damned, and this is the
Yeah.
Horizon Experiment's the one shot. So
Yeah.
it could be a cool introduction to something bigger, potentially. Makes me think. I'm not sure. But
Well, I think we're volunteering you to,
read it and come back.
read it and come back and tell us what you think, because I would take your advice.
Okay. Sounds good. I got a couple other things in Image. Is it everybody done with Image, or?
I've got 203 is still
Okay.
in Image, so go to 203.
All right, I'm 197 is the Deviant Volume 1. I've talked about this a couple of times. It's been like one of my favorite series of 2024. And this is the collected issues 1 through 4, and I could not recommend it more. If you haven't picked up the
Really?
per issue, if you like serial killer, if you're into like Silence of the Lambs, and enjoy that kind of thing, but with a cool spin on it, I am all about it. It's definitely one of my
You
favorites.
talking about the trade paperback here on?
yeah the
97? Yeah. Okay.
that trade there. Yep.
Oh, that's Tynan. Yeah, that's right. Okay, I marked it down.
Yeah, it is great. And then I think my other one is past you, Scott, so you can go ahead.
Okay, so 203, we have Universal Monsters Creature from the Black Lagoon Lives hardcover. This is just the collected of the second Universal. Is it the second? Because Dracula was first,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
And then now we had the
And then
creature is second. So this
Frankenstein's
is the
ongoing
second.
Right now,
now.
Frankenstein's ongoing right now. Yeah.
Okay, so this is the second of the Universal Monsters coming out in hardcover. Hey, there's that name, Dan Waters, as a writer on that we talked about earlier. This one also has that book plate option. So I guess this is the new thing from publishers, is at least from Image, right? Is you order enough copies, they will send you bundles of book plates that have the signatures of all the key creators on that particular book. So this one you get it signed by Dan Waters, Ram V, and Matthew Roberts. But you got to order 10 copies, so drop a hint with your comic book shop, and maybe you can get them to pick up a few. So
Yeah. On a page before that, you were at 203, right?
yes,
So 202, I just noticed it. It's the 7-2 Eternity Compendium, and it seems like I mentioned this last time. Maybe this is a resolicit, but this collects 17. I think it's all 17 issues that were ever put out on 7-2 Eternity. Matt Martin and I read the first volume on the roadshow, and it was really good, especially the art by Jerome Pena. Rick Remender is the art as the writer, and it's one of those stories that I might be inclined to buy the full collection, as a trade or a hardcover.
Nice.
If you want individual issues, let me know because I have the complete set.
Do you? Oh,
I think so. I'll have to double check
okay.
that, but I believe I
Yeah,
do. So.
okay. I'll get back to you.
Okay, I'm done with Image. So.
Gosh.
I got on 215. It is Deviant number 9, just to kind of pick up from the trade. And this is the final issue. So as the volume 1 is rolling out, the first half of the story, issue 9 is also being solicited. And on 219, I just wanted to ask you guys. So this is Feral number 7. I think I'm scrolling through.
Yep,
When this came out, did you guys think that it was a mini series, just like Stray Dogs was, or was it understood that it was an ongoing, and I just missed that?
I just assumed.
I always assume it's a mini
Okay.
anymore. And even if it's not solicited as a mini, it will be turned into a
At
mini.
some point, yeah.
Especially all your non-Marvel and DC books. So there are very few things that I assume is going to be an ongoing. So I am surprised that this has gone on to issue 7, which probably just indicates that the sales have been relatively solid.
Yeah, and I have been picking this up monthly and reading it fairly close. I think I just read issue 4, and 5 is what just dropped like 2 weeks ago. So I'm on it, and I invested in this with the assumption that it was a miniseries, and I'm like, been waiting for it to wrap up, and now I'm like, well, crud.
It's too much commitment.
I didn't, and because honestly, we all read Stray Dogs together. It was so well done and so well paced. This book does not feel well paced. And
No, it does
it
not.
suffers
I'm glad you
because
said
of the
that.
ongoing, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad you said it because I am also reading this. It's one of the few titles I've been keeping up on, but I keep thinking, after the second, third, fourth issue, I'm gonna get.
Thank you. Yeah.
It's gonna start clicking for me, and it's not. And I'm not even. You know how the dogs, they each had such distinctive identities and
Yes.
characteristics. These cats, I can't remember who each of the cats are.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not that it's necessarily a bad story, but I think you're right. The pacing's off, and I don't quite understand what's going on. And I'm probably now this is an excuse for me to drop this book.
I agree. That's what I put in my notes too.
Yeah.
I will wait and finish it up when it's collected.
Mike, you want to go to page 231? You probably should
I do.
mention
Yeah,
this
I've
book
got
on
it.
page 231. Okay.
I've got it on my list, and
Oh, okay. I'm
this
sorry.
is.
Thought you said you were done with Image.
Oh no
so.
no. This is the. This is scroll. At least my little touchpad's a little quieter. It's
Oh, can you hear my mouse wheel when I
oh
scroll?
yeah, I can hear.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry, I didn't mean to. I'm not complaining. I'm just.
Wow. I guess I'll start muting when I scroll. Holy smokes.
So, Plastic Death and Dolls number 5. This is just my. I don't want to say obligatory because I'm not really obliged to do it, but it's the final issue of this miniseries. That's the sequel to the first Plastic story and our volume. I think it was a 5-issue that turned into a trade, but it's by Doug Wagner and Daniel Hilliard, the same creators. And I've got issue 1 that I have 1 and 2. I think I have 1 and 3. The shop that I get my new stuff failed to get me number 2, so now I want to get number 2 so I can read as you're supposed to in order.
Yeah, it'd be a little weird if you read 1, 3, and then 2 afterwards.
Yeah, so on page 197, I highly recommend this series.
I'm on. My next thing's not till. Actually, I got something I just found here. So I'm out of Image still, though.
Same. I'm into Mad Cave, I do believe.
Let's see. What am I? I don't know what publisher I'm in. I'm in Mad Cave
All
also.
right.
Oh, wow.
Mike, you got anything for Mad Cave?
Nope, I have nothing in the rest of the next phase. unless
All
I
right.
find something here.
Shad, you go ahead because I don't know what page number mine's actually on, so I'll let you do yours first.
Mine's on 269. It's the Hexiles #1, and this is written by Cullen Bunn, who we talked about. I enjoy his writing most of the time, and art by Joe Baccardo. And I love this preview art. Once again, we're rocking some creepy preview art here. And it's a new story about this. It's I don't even remember. I just love the artwork so much. It was about this guy and his 6 children from 6 different mothers attending a funeral of their father they never met, and they all have these different powers, and each power comes at a terrible price, it says. So it's a demonic horror story. Cursed by birth, united by fate is what the tagline is.
It's a little like Fall of the House of Usher, the Netflix
That's true.
series, because you
Yeah.
had the 6, the 6 however many children, but all from different.
I need to finish that. I actually was talking about that the other day. I got halfway through it and then just got busy with something.
It's pretty good. It's not as good as some of the others, but it's pretty
Cool.
good. This reminds me of, and I'm struggling, the Jeff Lemire series with the barn.
Oh, the
yeah.
Black Barn? Yeah.
Is that called the
No.
Black
I
Barn?
think it was.
That's
No.
no. What's the I can't remember what that
Memory
series
isn't
is.
good
The
today.
artwork reminds me of that series, though.
Yeah, I could see that.
Okay.
Wait, now
So
you.
mine's
what was
actually. Well, it'll come to us eventually. So when you think of it, just let me know. I got to jump back to page
Gideon
260.
Falls.
Gideon Falls. There you go. 266. Gotcha, man. I mentioned before I had my my moment there where it's like, I always tried to watch this on my rabbit ears because it was at a local PBS station. It was always a battle to get it in. Read the first issue. Yeah, this is not a very good series. So just throwing that out there. So I think and I'm going to blame the subject matter, not the writer, because this is also written by Cullen Bunn. This is just one of those, licensed properties.
Yeah.
It's not particularly good. So.
Still in Mad
Let's
Cave,
see.
I've got 271. It's Murder Kingdom #1. The B cover specifically is absolutely creepy, and I love it with the rotting corpse with a rose coming out of her eye. And it's a story setting place in Florida at a theme park. I wonder what theme park that could be representing.
I don't know. It's hard to
Where
tell.
a murdering
Universal
That's
Studios.
right. It must be that one. Where a murder spree is going on, and they're killing the cast members in identical ways. They're matching them up to the way that Grimm fairy tale characters died. It is a kind of a cool. I love the idea of setting a story in a theme park, especially a Disney theme park, and then having a whole murder spree and it kind of being tied to the Grimm fairy tales is a neat kind of twist on that.
I kind of like.
I don't
that too.
remember a Harry Potter Grimm fairy tale.
No, that's weird.
Well, and also Neil Gaiman kind of hinted at this in Sandman, right?
Oh yeah, there was all the nasty stuff that
The
happens.
serial killer.
Yep. The serial
Yeah,
killer
the serial
convention.
killer convention. Yeah, the serial convention.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. What was it? Fun. I can't remember the guy's name. It wasn't.
I don't remember either, but you know who I'm talking
Yes,
about.
absolutely.
Right? Yeah. And that was in the Netflix.
Yeah, they
had that
got
in
it in
They
there
did.
too.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
a classic
Funhouse. That's his name. Funhouse.
story arc. Yeah. Oh
Yeah,
my
there you go.
gosh. So crazy.
Yes.
I'm in Oni Press, so I'm like at 305.
You know, Mad Cave is really they're expanding.
Yeah.
They're doing pretty well. Yeah.
They're doing pretty good. Yeah, I got 300 right before you, Scott, is a book called Kids Are Still Weird, and it is by Dan Brown, who not our Dan Brown, but is I'm sorry,
if it
Jeffrey
was.
Brown. My bad. I got
So
all
it's
mixed
definitely
up.
not our Dan Brown.
Yeah.
Jeffrey Brown. I even wrote Dan Brown on my notes. I must have just been thinking about him. He does a lot of these autobiographical comics, and He's also done like the Darth Vader sleep kids books and all that. I don't remember what they're called, but he does.
Darth Vader and
Yeah,
Son.
there you go.
How
Yeah,
about
that one. But he does these autobiographical comics that have always been interesting to me because he doesn't have this like intricate art style. It's very basic, and he's very open and honest and raw about his life in these comics. It feels like, and just reading interviews with him. And this is just another entry in that. I guess he's had a kid since maybe the last time I've paid attention to one of his biography books. And so he did have a Kids Are Weird book at one point in time, I think, about other people having kids and him not really being into it. So I love that he's got a book about kids are still weird. And I feel the same.
I'm surprised you didn't mention in Magma Comics the Night of the Slashers.
You know, I almost thought about that one, yeah.
Yeah. I think the art's good. There's some pretty vivid images, for that kind of genre, that body horror. So
yeah,
I'm not necessarily promoting it, but I definitely thought that would be something you'd be interested in. But definitely got that 80s, I know what you did last summer type vibe.
Yeah, the 80 horrors movie. Yeah, I looked at that and looked at the preview, and it was just it didn't do anything for me. So
yeah.
All right, what you got, Scott?
Okay.
Any 305, I think, was my next.
Okay, I got 307. So.
Okay, so and this is not actually a comic. So of course, Oni Press is taking over the EC Comics line.
Mm-hmm.
So they've got a continuation of those two books, the Epitaphs from the Abyss and Cruel Universe, which those are now limited series. I don't remember if those were limited series when they were initially
I don't think so.
solicited or not. Also on the Cruel Universe, Cullen Bunn is a writer there as well, so we might as well throw his name out there one more time.
Mm-hmm.
But they are now have the official EC Comics T-shirt. So if you want to, share your love of EC Comics, here's you a chance to get a T-shirt, and it's supposed to be limited to the initial orders only. So, hand screen printed in North Carolina by Holy Mountain. It's odd that a place called Holy Mountain would be screen printing the EC Comics stuff.
That's ironic, isn't it? Yeah. There's was it Dio, the old rock band that had the song called Holy Diver?
Yep.
So it was sort of like, that was ironic too.
306 from the Nacelle verse, you have Sectar's number 1 of 3. This is just a continuation from the toy line comics that Oni Press is putting out. Shad, is this one you're planning on picking up?
No,
was not in your wheelhouse?
The only one that I even was gonna pick up was Biker Mice from Mars, and as it got closer to time, I was like, I don't even think I care about this one. Turns out, I got the Nacelle verse like one shot that started off, and I read like my 3 pages of Biker Mice from Mars in there, and I was like, I think I'm good. Turns out I don't care that much. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the way I felt about exactly how I felt about the Gotcha Man Battle of the Planets. It's like, okay, I didn't really miss anything. So, that's fine. I'm done with that.
It's better to recognize that before you make the purchase.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think I did order the second issue, so I have the second issue coming, but I will not be ordering the third. So,
I see Sectars is written by Dennis Culver, and I've kind of liked his work in the past. He did that Justice League Incarnate book.
I am done with the Next Phase catalog, so whatever the two of you have left in Next Phase, it's all you.
I've got one more, and it's on the next page. It's on 307. Is Dwellings All Hallows Eve special one shot, another one shot, and this is the 4th Dwellings book. I talked about Dwellings when it first came out as well, and this is if you enjoyed like the Harvey comics growing up as a kid, as I did. And love horror, this is a perfect match. It's a very mature version of like if you're into Casper or Wendy or Hot Stuff or whatever, then this would be something you might want to check out. There's a second series they've announced that's coming next year, and there's a lot of these books that they look like they're kids books and they are mature and they think they're just overdone and they're just like cursing left and right for no reason. And this book, I don't think, is done in that way. This is kind of more of a tastefully mature book on that side, and is kind of interesting to watch.
So a mature book for mature readers as opposed to a mature book for immature
Yeah,
readers.
exactly. That's a good way to put it. And it's kind of interesting to see like the kind of Harvey style drawings of people being murdered and stuff like that is kind of entertaining, I think. But yeah, I definitely like the way this is done more than other books that I've purchased that are just like, oh, that was just a lot of cursing for no reason. I curse a lot, and but I enjoy a more tasteful curse than just cursing to curse.
Like Deadpool
Like
and Wolverine.
Deadpool, Wolverine, maybe.
Yeah.
We have 3 seconds of no talk. Let's just drop a couple more F-bombs in there. There we go. All right. We got to fill up all that empty
That's
airtime,
right.
with something. So.
I got one more,
Yeah,
and that's it for me too.
Okay.
Page 316 is under paper cuts. Is Disney and Pixar's Brave classic graphic novel. I bring this up for my granddaughter Josie. She's a big fan of the Disney properties and the princesses, and especially I think this isn't your typical princess. She's a skilled archer, and anyway, I like to once in a while pick up a book for the grandkids. And in fact, I just they've had these Rugrats books in these catalogs over the last few years, and my middle daughter, she's going to have a baby, and I purchased the Rugrats book for that baby just to we don't know if it's going to be a boy or girl yet, so just as a her first book, first comic book, it's going to be like at birth.
All right. We ready to move on to Marvel?
Yeah.
All right. Page 2, Storm #1. Shad, was this solicited already?
Yes, it was.
I know. Okay, all right. I know a lot of these were already solicited, so Storm's getting a #1, but I did not notice last time that there were going to be foil variants, and of course now I'm reading that it's a gold foil variant, which I think is missing the mark. I think a regular foil variant with that lightning would
way
look
cooler.
so sharp. I'm not for sure what I think about a gold foil now. I had it down to try to get a foil, but now I'm not so sure. But I did want to call out that foil variant happening there. On
that gold lightning is going to be a little weird on there, but
yeah. Well, I guess it's going to be okay. So it's going to be on the one here. See, I was expecting it to be on the A cover,
It's
but
on
it
that
looks like
Opena.
it's going to be
Yeah.
on this one. The lower right. Okay. I think that's going to be cool. I may have to pick that up just 'cause I think it's going to be a cool cover. But I was thinking this A cover with all that lightning around here, that would look pretty sharp foiled as well.
yeah.
So. I kind of wish they would just. I'm not. Hey, we've got glow in the dark. We got 3D. We gotta have some
I got
foil
some foil
as
in the
well,
mix.
so.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm
Back
on page 7.
on page 1. I don't typically anymore talk about the Disney What If covers, but I badly now want to see a story where Goofy is Wolverine with the utensils as his claws, the fork and the knife and the spoon, because that just looks dumb, and I want to see how they fit it into a story.
I also want to hear Donald Duck say "Avengers Assemble." I just don't think he can say it.
That'd be good.
He can he can say it in his Donald Duck voice, but
Yeah, and everybody will go, "What?"
Yes.
yeah.
What?
I got page 7.
Oh, you're
I
you're
actually
2 for
am
2.
not
I
until
had
Star
Storm,
Wars.
and you. Okay.
Oh wow, okay. Well, okay. I took Storm, Mike. You can have Iron.
I think you should, because my comment is not as positive, so I think you should go first.
Oh, really? Your comment's not positive. Okay, so I have no idea about this creative team. I do not recognize these names on Iron Man #1. So Spencer Ackerman, Julius Ota. I'm probably butchering that name. The artwork kind of has a John Romita Jr. Feel to me, but I really like this. I like the premise of this story where we got the Stark Roxxon war. So
Yeah.
Roxxon is kind of like the big bad corporate entity inside of the Marvel universe. I really think, I don't know this for sure, but I really think the name Roxxon is post Exxon Valdez. I probably should double check that
Oh,
where the name actually came from. But they've been around in the Marvel universe
yeah.
for quite a while
But you're
now.
right.
It's not like 5 years ago. It's been
Mm.
quite a long time. So they're that big bad corporate entity here.
Yeah,
They're working with
they
AIM.
represent that. Yeah.
Yeah, they're working with AIM, so they're definitely the bad guys. It has this. There's been a couple of Armor Wars stories where Stark has gone in and tried to reclaim some of his intellectual. I guess we'll just say intellectual property from where it's been used, whether it be by good guys or bad guys. So it kind of has a throwback feel for me to those storylines. It's a very different take on the Iron Man armor. It's almost like a modern version of the original. It's kind of all pieced
Mm-hmm.
together, and instead of being all silver, it's got the red and gold. So I'm a little intrigued by this book.
Yeah.
So all right, Mike, tear it apart. Go
It's not
for it.
really tearing apart. It's the book itself. It may be fantastic. I'm just making a snide comment that the previous volume of Iron Man only lasted 20 issues before they rebooted, and it just seems like these series are getting shorter and shorter before they start a new volume. But it does. You're
Well,
right. Visually, it
yeah.
looks really good, and the premise looks good.
Well, all thing I will say, if they made it 20 issues, then they made it longer than the Dawn of DC's 12 for the entire DC line.
Point, check, and mate, or whatever. Very true.
All right. I just have a comment here that if you feel like we're not talking a lot about things in Marvel, 11 to 16 is nothing but Venom War crossovers. It has zero interest personally, but if you're a big Venom reader, there's a lot of Venom War crossovers. 18 to 21, we got more Mutant #1 issues. I do want the two of you, to take a look at the Sentinels cover. This is on
Yeah.
page,
21.
and I just think this is a bad cover. This is on page 21.
Yeah.
And I want you to look at the one awful looking cover, but I want you to look at the two middle characters. All right. When I look at that, what I see is you have as you're looking at it, there's the guy on the left and the girl on the right. Okay, so what I saw initially was the guy has his left arm kind of back, pointing at the woman to his left. But no, that arm is her arm holding the gun over the shoulder because
Oh,
his left arm is actually underneath the gun. So it's just the proportions just look wrong. The faces don't look right. It's just man, I can't believe they gave this artwork like a full page here in the book, and to me it does not look very good. It's just there's just something wrong with it, and
mm.
it needs to be redone.
See,
Yeah, and
I mean,
that's
I
the
always felt
interior artist.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and maybe they just missed it on the cover, and everything else is fine. But you get Sentinels 1 and Mystique 1. And again, why they don't? I guess because these are not resolicits like the Storm. I feel like all those X-Men books should be together,
Mm-hmm.
but they're not.
Yeah, they should group them together in the catalog. I agree.
My next thing's not till, so we have a bunch of X-Men books continuation. My next thing is 33.
I'm at 25 with Dazzler. I know it's the second issue, but I wondered. The reason I wrote it down was I wondered, was this meant to be ongoing or was it always a 4-issue miniseries? Do you recall?
Oh, I don't think they said it was a limited series last month, so I think that's something that's changed.
Yeah, that was my only. I am ordering this. I'm ordering quite a few of the new X-Men books. Not all of them, but all of the ones with X in the title. And I'm ordering Wolverine, Dazzler, and Phoenix.
Wow. I just thought you were going to talk about the UK version of her costume.
I seen that too, but I have no idea what to say about it.
Yeah, no.
Is she now based in the UK? I don't know.
Well, I guess she was traveling there, but you know what? I didn't realize that was Terry Dodson, and that's not very good Terry Dodson
Not
art.
really. No, it isn't.
No, man, am I bashing? I'm on art bashing because guess what I'm going to do next?
What?
I'm going to go page 33, and I'm going to bash some art some more. So we have Deadpool team up So speaking of bad artwork, we got Rob Liefeld.
No feet.
What's missing from this cover? No feet, right? Okay, and look at Hulk's thumb on his left hand, right? It is like embedded in that guy's. It's got to be like an inch or two into that guy's arm. So like how that arm is not broken just from his thumb going in that far. I mean, it's just man, it's just pretty bad. Plus, I don't know who this character is on the lower left, so. Obviously Wolverine, Deadpool, Hulk. They're pretty
Right.
straightforward. But whoever this is in the lower left-hand corner, no idea who that is. So apparently a new character that got introduced at some point.
He looks like a cross between Magneto and the Black Knight.
Then 36, we have the Crypt of Shadows #1, another one-shot, of course, for Halloween. You have several of the monster characters. You got Blade and Werewolf by Night and Man Thing as opposed to Swamp Thing, right? But then you also have, Craven and Vision and Namor in here for some reason or another. Not really for sure, but some horror stories to go along for Marvel to go along with your DC stories as well in a one-shot.
I wish they'd do another Halloween. Was it Werewolf by Night that they did 2 years
Werewolf
ago?
by Night.
Yeah, that was.
Well, see, last year they colorized it, and they really do need to do another one.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that.
Then I've got on page 40, they kind of de-emphasized the Marvel voices on this one. So this is the Ghost Rider Robbie Reyes special #1, but it's also a Marvel voices for Latinx creators. And side note, it's the print debut of another Ghost Rider. Now, I assume that means that it's probably either something from the Marvel Unlimited, a Marvel Unlimited story is what I'm assuming that's
That
from.
makes sense.
But they don't go into any more detail on that. Because I don't. Do either of you read any of the Marvel Unlimited stories?
I did for a little bit, like early on when they first started them, but I fell off a year ago or so.
Yeah.
The only ones I've read are the Echo ones. So, but there's so many of them.
Yeah,
just
it's too much.
It is. You can't keep up with all of them. So, I wish they would put that much effort into their print comics as they do in those unlimited ones. And I actually don't like the continuous scroll because I feel like I'm scrolling a whole lot more than if I just tap and turn a page.
That makes sense.
So it takes me longer to get through one of those because of the constant scroll.
I like it a little bit. I've been getting more used to it on because that's how the I think is it Global Comics, that company. I have their app, and I've been reading a couple of things that are set up in that scroll kind of thing, and I'm like, okay, I get it. For like short, if I'm just kind of trying to kill time for like 5 minutes, it seems like it has a nice flow to it if it's done right.
Yeah, I don't feel like they're doing anything innovative with it. It's just, and sometimes they just had to put gaps so that the panels don't overlap. So it's like you're scrolling past the gap.
Yeah, that's true.
So, yeah, it's a little tedious for me sometimes. 64. Anybody got anything before 64?
No.
I don't know where Star Wars is in the book. I didn't have anything Star Wars. So am I before or after?
You're still good. Yeah,
Star
you're
Wars?
still before.
Okay. All right, Captain America #14. This is still I'm kind of surprised J. Michael Straczynski is still on Captain America. I've mentioned before. I've kind of liked it. It's not groundbreaking, but it's a decent Captain America story. Somebody who likes Cap would probably enjoy it. They're not going to leave the book because of what's going on inside of the book. But here, JMS is returning. He had an excellent run on Thor many years ago. So he's going to be bringing Thor at least into the book for one issue for a New Warriors 3 that also includes your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. So we've got another character that JMS wrote. Now his run on Spider-Man was not as well received, but he's bringing those three characters back, forming a new quote-unquote Warriors 3. So that's in Captain America #14. Then on 67, Daredevil Woman Without Fear #4. I think we maybe mentioned the first issue of this series, but I did not realize that the new Punisher was in at least the fourth issue. I don't know if the new Punisher has been in issues 1, 2, or 3. He had a short series, which I thought was pretty good. So I guess I might have to go and look to see if he is actually one of the main characters, because that ran like 4 issues and then it fell off, and I didn't know if maybe they transitioned the character into this Daredevil One Without
Oh.
Fear, or if this is just a one shot where he's showing up in the final issue of this series.
Is is this Joe Garrison a permanent replacement?
He's as permanent as a replacement as any other replacement for a hero is
Mm-hmm.
going to be, which means no. Frank Castle will be back at some point.
Yeah.
At the end of the Jason Aaron run, there was, I guess, kind of a conclusion to Frank Castle's story. But and so we just had this Joe Garrison ringing. But I'm assuming that Frank Castle will be back.
You know how hard
And
it is
probably
not to
pretty
mention
soon.
any of these when you see these characters, not to mention the Wolverine Daredevil or the Wolverine Deadpool movie. Yeah.
And let's see. I don't have a page number for my last book, so Shad, why don't you go ahead
Okay.
on Thor, and I'll find the page.
There's a couple of
Or Thor. I'm sorry, Star
Yeah.
Wars.
There's a couple of new Star Wars books out. One of them being Star Wars Ewoks #1. It's a 4-issue miniseries, and is celebrating the 40th anniversary of Caravan of Courage, which nobody really asked to celebrate that, I don't think. But I'm curious to see what a series, a complete series based on the Ewoks would be. I'm imagining not a lot of dialogue is going to be exchanged on here. The one shot that they did of Ewoks to celebrate for the Return of the Jedi, which I think came out last year, was very low on any kind of comprehensive dialogue either. So 4 issues of that. If you're into it, go for it. Go see what's up with it. And then the big one is on page 81 is the start of a 4-issue series called Star Wars Battle of Jakku Insurgency Rising. And the first 3 issues of it are solicited in the book. So it appears to be a weekly book or a somewhat weekly book. And this will be a post Return of the Jedi going through the Battle of Jakku, which we heard a lot about in the new Star Wars trilogy, and will feature Poe Dameron's parents quite a bit, it seems like. So if you want you want to know more about all of that series will definitely hit that, it seems like. And I'm curious. I thought that this was going to be their next run of the main Star Wars title, and it appears to just be a 4-issue, and then I'm curious where they go after that, if it's going to be more post Jedi or what we're going to see. Who knows? I'm sure they know, but I don't.
Are you watching The Acolyte?
I am. I think I'm in episode 6 of it, and I'm enjoying it so far. It started to slow down a bit, in my opinion, but I know that it's over. But I haven't watched like the last 2.5 episodes or so.
Yeah, I've heard it's good, so I got a lot of catching up.
So my last thing in Marvel is actually on page 70, and I'm gonna talk about Deadpool again. And how often do I talk about Deadpool in 2 episodes? Because outside of the movie version of Deadpool, I'm not actually a big fan of the character. But here we have Deadpool #7, and Deadpool is dead. Long live Deadpool. So here we have Deadpool's daughter Ellie taking over for Deadpool and being trained by Taskmaster. So I do like me a good Taskmaster story. So, and then with the changeover in character here, this does have my interest peaked just a little.
What page
bit.
is that on, Scott?
That's on page 70 in the Marvel catalog. Yeah, 70, 71. So you have a new Deadpool. And I'm going to throw this out here because I'm excited for the movie. But Alien Romulus #1 on page 75. So this is the all-new story retelling secrets of the film's legendary antagonists. So how did the Xenomorphs find Rain? Now, so apparently this is a prequel to the movie. It doesn't say that explicitly, but I think that's what that is. So
Yeah, that trailer
Yeah, I
looks
seen the
killer for that.
I seen the preview for the
I
movie and looked over at my wife. We were at the Deadpool movie, and I tried to give her the thumbs up, and she gave me the thumbs down. You can go. I'm not going to that.
yeah. No, I'm looking forward to that. I'm gonna go see Crow as well.
Hmm.
So yeah. All right. I'm done with Marvel. You guys got anything
Nope.
else Marvel?
No, I just wanted to comment. I don't know if Shad said it, but the writer on Ewoks is Steve Orlando. He's a very good writer.
Okay. Yeah, I wasn't familiar with his work, or at least I didn't know the name.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's been around for quite a while.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Pullbox.
Pullbox.
Pullbox. All right. So let's just let's see. Let's just start with what? Well, let's see. We've already done image, right? So boom. Is anybody gonna go boom
I
this
don't
month?
think I got any boom.
Let me see if I got any boom. I got no boom.
I,
You got any boom, Mike?
Boom.
No boom.
I don't think so.
No
No.
boom. No boom. Okay. Sorry, boom.
Oh, I do.
So
I do.
what's
I do.
next?
I do. I do.
Oh, okay.
Yes, I've had to go to each tab
Mike
and
goes
see.
boom boom. All right.
Okay,
Let's go.
Vicarious #1 of 5 by Ryan Parrott and Eleonora Carlini and Dan Panosian. And it's basically the protagonist is Justin, an aimless 20-something, desperate for human connection and excitement, and after a dangerous encounter reveals itself as a fortuitous opportunity, Justin finds just what he's looking for in the secret world of proxies, young, pretty, ambitious hustlers like himself who allow the rich access to their feelings and experiences through a technological implant. And it's sort of a science fiction-y type story. It just caught my eye. I don't know really. I mean, it's hard to say what causes one to say I'm going to talk about this in our in our episode, but it did catch my eye. It's got an interesting cover, and you're kind of limited on what you can see in the online version of the previews catalog. So, yeah, that I might get it just because of what little I know about it.
Well, it is a Diamond Gem of the Month, which we
Mm-hmm.
will be talking more about some of those books as well. I saw that cover, and whenever I read the solicit for it, it didn't really draw me in.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody being a writer on Mighty Morphin Power Rangers is not a big sell for me personally.
Yeah.
But I can see with the neon color how that could actually kind of attract your eye. And when you're even in the previews catalog, right? When you're flipping through that, a lot of times for me, you try to get through. When I was trying to get through 300 pages of physical catalog, right? If a cover doesn't grab me, especially when I get towards the back of the book, it's I'm not going to even mention it,
Yeah.
right? So they've got to do something to pull it out.
Yeah.
So I don't know, Shad, what did you think here about Vicarious?
That one, it didn't catch my eye at all. It was not one of the ones that grabbed me.
Yeah. All right. Anything else, Boom?
Nope.
Nope.
Nope. Okay. So what's next in the list? We've got scrolling down. Man, is there that much? Was there that much Boom? Man, there's a ton of Boom. Okay. Titan. Anybody got anything from Titan?
No Titan for me.
Nope.
Let's see if I had any Titans. So I thought I had. Oh, I do have one from Titan. So RuneScape: Untold Tales of God Wars, issue #1. Not the most recent Free Comic Book Day, but last year, so the 2023 Free Comic Book Day, we had the RuneScape Free Comic Book Day book, and they're just now releasing the actual first full series for this. I'm kind of surprised that it has taken them this long. So, of course, this is based on the old school online Java-based game, which I guess people are still playing it. There's like classic RuneScape and like RuneScape 2.0. But if you pick up this book, which is again, it's a Diamond Gem of the Month. All right. It also includes a code for 200 rune coins inside. So there you go. All right, so but there's a little bit of a soft spot for me for RuneScape because when my two boys were younger, we actually would spend some time playing RuneScape together. So, so I'm probably actually going to pick this up just for that fact. So, do either of you have any thoughts on RuneScape that you want to add? Since it is a Diamond Gem of the Month.
I'd never even heard of RuneScape before.
I'd heard of it, but I'd never
Really?
played
Wow.
the game, or I'd never really. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I like to insult people who are World of Warcraft players by telling them that World of Warcraft is just RuneScape with better graphics. So, 'cause it's basically the same. You go on quests and you grind around and level up your character and all that fun stuff.
Gotcha.
All right, so I think that covers everybody for Titan. How about I think Dynamite's next?
We've got Terminator.
Dynamite?
I don't know that
Yeah.
I've read a few Terminator comics in my life, but I always love the idea of the expanded and continued story of Terminator. Being a big fan of the movies growing up, and it looks like Dynamite. That's the next title that they've got the license to. Declan Shelby writing. I've heard that name a lot. I don't know that I've done a lot of Declan Shelby in my time. Luke Sparrow is the artist. That's not a name that I'm familiar with. Looks like he's done some Star Trek. But yeah, just more of a continuation of the story of Terminator, and makes me think, I should probably read that Terminator omnibus that I bought digitally a few years ago, and actually kind of dive into that a little bit.
There was a Frank Miller did a Terminator RoboCop crossover
Oh, okay.
series. And I don't he plays off a little bit of the absurdity in like Terminator where like they beat the robot and then in the future at some final battle they manage to send somebody else back to try to undo the things that happened from the last time they went back, and it's like almost like every single issue at the end one group or the other side goes in and they go back to the past to try to undo, so it's like this constant time travel thing. I think it was meant to be a little bit, I don't, ironic is probably not the correct word for that, but it was actually a pretty solid series. If I remember right, it had Walt Simonson artwork.
Okay.
Oh,
So Frank
that's
Miller
always
writing,
good.
that was that RoboCop Terminator, yeah. So it was a pretty good combination. It's one of the earlier, not the earliest Terminator comic, but this one appears to be taking place pretty close to the end of the first movie, is where I think that it fits kind of in the timeline. So I'm actually intrigued by this one. I may actually be picking up a Dynamite book. And there's also a blank cover variant for that as well. So, and it's also a a diamond, a gem of the month. Let's see. All right. Anything else, Dynamite?
Nope.
No.
Okay. You ready to round robin then for the rest of the
Yeah.
books?
Sounds good. Mine's will be a short round robin on my side.
I've got. I've only got. I've got two books and one
Oh,
comment.
I got two as well. So okay, we're on the same page.
Okay. All right. So, Mike, you want to go first?
Yeah, sure. The first one
Okay.
is in Dark Horse, which it seems that Dark Horse is no longer the Dark Horse whenever it comes to comic publishers. They are kind of they're up from the ashes, as I've seen in some of the storylines lately has been a tagline. But they are putting forth a new Black Hammer book. I don't remember seeing anything recently or for a while, but Black Hammer Spiral City, written by Jeff Lemire. He's not doing the art, but he is doing the writing, and it's a sort of a new era and a new cast of heroes, and yeah, so I remember buying these first, the first iterations of a bunch of Black Hammer books early on some years ago, and it was a hit, and I liked it. So this is from Dark Horse, and of course I don't have a page number, but it's you just have to look at the Dark Horse section.
You just have to look it
Well,
up.
actually, it's just in the comics and graphic novels section. So,
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
because there isn't a Dark Horse section. Yeah,
true.
at least on the pull box
Yeah.
anyway. All right, Shad, what you got?
I'll just stick with the Dark Horse theme, and they have a new book called FML #1. I think if you know what FML stands for, then you know what it is. And this is about a teenager who's into heavy metal and and monster movies and all kinds of stuff. And when they do this weird ritual at a party, Uh, they wake up to find that they're all the creatures and witchcraft and the metal world that they're into is now part of reality. It just seems like a kind of coming of age, teenage weird story based in Portland. And the cover's cool. It's got 4 kids walking across it, but one of them's wearing like a witch costume, and just kind of one of those random teenage kid stories that I tend to like especially if you're throwing in metal music and monsters.
Stand By Me.
Yeah, exactly. Stand By Me, absolutely.
Okay, so is this okay? So I noticed it says tempter of a former Riot Girl mother.
Yeah.
Is that related to the Riot Girl series?
Yeah. So the Riot Girl movement was like female punk empowerment in the '90s, and so I think that the comic book is very much representative of that same theme, if I remember right.
Okay, but I mean, there's actually a Riot Girl comic.
Yes, that's what I mean. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
The Riot Girl as it is spelt there was originated from the Riot Girl scene in the '90s, which was very much
Yeah,
punk girls.
but I mean, do you think that this comic is directly tied to the
Oh,
Riot Girl comic, or
I don't
are
I
they
don't
just
think
using that
so. I think they're
terminology?
just using that terminology.
Because I've not read the other comic, I just know I've seen that thrown around.
Gotcha.
Before,
Yeah, I don't think so.
so. Okay, so Sumerian Comics is releasing a new Crow story, which looks like will be out after the movie. So we have Crow Dead Time. This is a 3-issue series. They are giving James O'Barr, the creator, a writer's credit on this. But I'm going to guess that John Wagner is going to be doing most of the lifting for this.
This is
Now,
actually a
the
reprint.
thing that can. Oh,
This is a '96
Tentative
story that came out in
returns to
'96 that
print.
Sumerian is reprinting.
You know what? I missed that. That's a good.
And because
catch.
I was like, I know that name, and I looked, and I was like, oh yeah, I've got this book, but I've got the original covers
Oh,
of it.
okay.
But yeah, but it does say that this is the start to Sumerian's Year of the Crow, so I'm thinking that this is just getting us started to what we're gonna see as many more Crow books, or at least after this 3 issues is done being reprinted, maybe we get something original or new. I guess not original, but new.
Okay. Well, hopefully, yeah. Okay, so okay, thank you for correcting me on that because I completely missed that returns to print part of that.
It threw
solicit.
me off too,
I
and I
guess
was like,
just
wait a
got
second,
thrown-
what does that mean?
Yeah. So I actually was more distracted by the Alex Malev cover. It says includes new covers by series artist Alex Malev, and it's like they don't show. There's 3 covers, and one of them. Oh, I lost my spot here. Hold on, I gotta find it. One of them is. Oh, come on.
Christian Rosado is the cover that I'm looking at.
Yeah, one's Rosado, one's Brow, and one's Connolly, and then one is Colangeli. So there's 4. There's 4
Oh, geez.
covers. Not a single one of them has a Malev cover, which they say specifically in the solicit includes new covers by series artist Alex Malev, and many others. So I suspect there's going to be more
Gotcha.
covers than what we actually currently have solicited. And I do love this style of cover, the D
Yeah.
cover, which is the Colangeli, where they have like, okay, so this one's an image of a crow, and then inside the image they have the crow's face painted on the image of the crow, so it's kind of like the outline of the crow forms the border. I kind of like that. I've seen that done before. Like the first time I ever saw it was at Star Tours in Disney World, where they had like a Millennium Falcon outline with Han and Chewie kind of drawn
yeah.
into the outline of the Millennium Falcon. So there's something about this style that I kind of get
pretty
attracted
cool, yeah.
to. So I'm kind of digging that D cover for that series as well. So all right, there you go. Done with the crow. Mike, what else you got?
Under Legendary Comics, this isn't the Universal Studios version of Frankenstein. This is a graphic novel that is based off of Mary Shelley's original Frankenstein book, and it has art by Cary Gamble. If for those of you
Oh,
that
yeah.
remember him from some of the Superman books in I guess it was the '90s, wasn't it? And Superboy. Anyway,
He also did an Avengers Fantastic Four annual crossover
okay.
book as well.
Yeah,
So,
he's a good one. I
sorry,
liked
go
him.
ahead, Mike.
Yeah, so
Hmm.
it's just it's for $30. They have it's based on clearly based as Boris Karloff. I mean, not just I'm not saying that just because that the art is very reflective of that version of Frankenstein, but it does stay. It says starring Boris Karloff, so it looks good. It would be a good companion to anyone that might be buying those Universal Monsters series. So I wanted to shout out that.
Shad?
Actually, the Crow book was my last one, so
Oh,
I'm all
all
good
right.
on my end.
I do want to point out that a couple of things. We got the announcement that Distillery had switched over exclusively to using Diamond for distribution, and then I got the email from Lunar that my orders of life had been canceled.
Yeah.
Right, and then we go to the catalog
Really?
here, and Distillery does not even have a section in on the previews pull box. They're just mixed in with all the other comics and such, which kind of seems off. You think they would probably feature them as a premier publisher,
Yeah.
but they don't even have them listed as a premier publisher. And then to top that off, today I got an email from Distillery, and I don't know if I may have already deleted this,
I've got
but
it if you don't.
the title. Okay, so the title of the email was comic cancellation from Distillery, and it order
Hmm.
cancellations, and it basically says, "Whoops, hold on, I clicked the wrong email here." It basically says, "It has come to our attention that in our transition from Lunar and Diamond to just Diamond, that some online sites have canceled orders for our fans. If you have received a notice that any of our books have been canceled by the publisher or any language of the like, please contact your online retailer to reinstate your orders as we have not canceled any
Oh my
books." And it
gosh.
goes on.
Yeah.
So it's just like, I don't know. This is getting a little messy,
Yeah.
I
A little
think.
bit.
Yeah.
So it's borderline name calling, uh, between basically Lunar and Distillery at this point. So yeah, I just wanted to just call that out. I thought that was interesting. They didn't get their own section, and that also, you know, that whole email from them. The only thing I have left is actually a game, and I gotta find it here. The name of the game is Horrified. Oh, okay. And the reason why I'm bringing this one up is, well, actually, there's two reasons why I'm bringing this up. One is that it is a game for 1 to 5 players. All right, and it basically features cryptids. So you have the option to uh, fight against a bunch of different cryptids, including, oh, I'll just read my notes here: Bigfoot, Jersey Devil, Mothman, Chupacabra, Ozark Howler, and the Banshee of the Badlands. And apparently, you can modify the difficulty by what combinations of monsters that you are playing against. And I'm becoming a bigger fan of any board games that include some type of a solo mode, so that way you can play them. They don't sit on your shelf when you can't find enough players to actually sit down and play a game. So you have the cryptid theme with the solo option, and this is from Ravensburger USA Inc. All right, real quick, I want to throw out some of the other.
Let me. I had a couple more, Scott. If you don't
Oh,
care, if you
I'm
don't mind.
sorry,
No,
Mike.
quite all
Go
right.
right ahead.
It's. I would. I just added the tabs up still, so I wanted to shout them out real quick. First is a novel by Alan Moore called The Great Win. Win as in When as in time, and it's a prose novel, and it's under Bloomsbury, and I don't know any more about it than that, but yeah, it's you don't see much. You don't see his name on anything new these days much. So I thought I'd bring that up. And then lastly, I had Alter Ego number 191 that features uh, Captain Marvel Jr. and some of the talking about Mac Rayboy. I don't think this is a reprint or a reissue of it, but it. I know I've got the Mac Rayboy book, but he was one of the really golden age artists always sort of got a probably justified bad rap when it came to some art. It was very rough, very just not refined. But Mac Rayboy is one of the exceptions, and anyway, I usually make a shout out to tomorrow's every chance I get, and this is no exception.
All right. Either of you guys got anything else?
Nope.
Nope.
Okay, so let's. We've already talked about a few of these Diamond Gems of the Month, like the Terminator book was one of them. So we have from Image Comics Null Hunter. It's a 12-issue series. Basically, it's a kinetic cyberpunk retelling of the labors of Hercules. Thumbs up or thumbs down?
Down.
Down.
I like Hercules. Thumbs up for me.
Thumbs up. Okay, I'm gonna be non-committal, and I'm gonna have to think about it. But yeah, that's Null Hunter from Image. So we go quite all the way, the whole spectrum there. All right. Also from Image Comics, Hyde Street. Okay, this is a Ghost Machine book, written by Jeff Johns. It's a character-centered horror begins as Ghost Machine launches Hyde Street. So we had to assume that there's something going on, like a Jekyll and Hyde, but they actually talk about Mr. X-Ray. Thumbs are down. Thumbs up, thumbs down.
I'm going to say thumbs down only because I don't have any interest in the Ghost Machine. If this was a standalone book, I probably would pick it up.
I'm with you, Shad. I'm going thumbs down on this one as well.
Thumbs up for me.
Thumbs up for you. Okay, all right. So, Mike, the eternal optimist. Boom Studio. I actually really expected Shad to mention this one. We have The Creeping Below. This is from Brian Azzarello as the writer. Art is Vanessa R. Del Rey. In nature, there are gods older than the devil. Nothing can prepare you for what's coming in this violent, electrifying descent into this bloody black metal infused revenge saga. Because it's a Val, an American metalhead attending a festival in Oslo, begins her penumbrous pilgrimage into the vast depths of vengeance. So, thumbs up, thumbs down.
I would thumbs up it. I honestly, I didn't, the cover threw me off. I did not like the kind of sloppy art style that was happening on that, and I just kind of went past it from that. But I mean, what you just sold to me sounds a little bit better than what I skimmed at.
Mike?
Down.
Down. I'm gonna go up on this one as well, because I'm like you, Shad. Whenever I looked at this cover first, I thought, that's a mess. But as I actually look at it, you kind of realize that this tree is like a giant, like almost like a dryad with its arms outstretched. You can see the face kind of there in the middle, and then there's like this, like an elk or a large deer over to the side
I see
of
that
it.
now.
It's still a little muddy,
But
there's
cooler,
actually some organization to it a little bit. I'm leaning towards thumbs up. It's a tentative.
If it was
thumbs
in
up,
like something I was already subscribed to, and it was like just added Creeping Below issue 1, I definitely would read it.
And this is I wonder if this is a one shot because they don't say.
It's 1 of 5.
1 of 5, yeah, I see it.
Oh, okay, it's 1 of 5. Oh, I see that up at top now. Okay, I had scrolled down where the Creeping Below 1 of 5 was off the screen, so I didn't see it. So, all right, this is the oddball for the Gem of the Month. This is from Titan Comics. We have Minky Woodcock, Girl Called Cthulhu, 4-issue series from Hard Case Crime. Let's see. Cynthia Von Bueller melds her glorious illustrations with the eldritch elements of H.P. Lovecraft and Aleister Crowley, inspired by a true World War II maritime operation, shocking satanic events, monstrous men, and one salacious sea creature. This third series tells a tale of Minky's encounter with legendary horror writer H.P. Lovecraft. And it has a quote from Neil Gaiman I will add in as well. So I'm going thumbs down. Mike?
2 thumbs up.
2 thumbs up. All right.
I'll thumbs up it. I confess that I have read the Minky Woodcock, the girl who handcuffed Houdini, and really enjoyed that series. I haven't read anything else past that.
Is this also like the Tesla series?
Yeah, there's a Tesla
Was that
series
the
as well.
same?
Yep, that's the same
all
thing.
right,
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah,
I didn't realize those were all tied together.
Yeah,
Okay.
I would check it out. I'd see what's up with it.
I'm sold on the artwork. That cover is just amazing.
Okay. I think they're going to be a quick thumbs down for all of us. Barbarella #1 from Dynamite.
No thanks.
I'm just going to go thumbs down just immediately. I don't even have to read anything about this one.
Yeah, I would
So,
agree.
Mike,
I agree.
okay.
Thumbs
Chad,
down.
Yeah, no.
and we already talked about Terminator. I think that was all the gems of the month. So, all right, Shad, you know what? Have we talked about what we're going to talk about on the
Oh
next
my
episode?
gosh, no. I guess it's going to be a surprise for the listeners.
It's going to be a surprise. Okay, so we're going to
And us too.
we're going to talk about some things we've been reading. All right, for sure. And then we'll probably have a first five. We'll surprise on the first five. Does that sound okay with you guys?
Sounds great.
Absolutely. Let's.
All right, great. All right. And then, of course, you can reach out to us at podcast@bergcomics.com. Mike, what's going on with you?
Well, my primary email is I'm putting it out there that it's Mike at comicshoproadshow.com, and I'm on Twitter/X, and you can always also comment on anything that we put out on our Facebook page, the Campus Comics Cast Facebook page.
Shad, what about you?
You can always find me at my website, shadschubert.com. That's SHAADSCHUBERT.com. With links to specifically Shad and Thomas. We've got some shows coming up in August if you're in the Southern Illinois area. And we should have a new release on Spotify coming up soon, so check out that too.
Oh, cool.
All right, and I'm Scott Reed. You can find me at bergcomics.com, BURGcomics.com, with links to social media and eBay store. We'll be back soon with episode 191.
Down the page, talk about the top 10 announcements for San Diego and just kind of do a rundown of that if we wanted to, or we can just ignore it. I'm fine with doing either. Because the focus of that is not on the comic books, it's on the multimedia stuff. So
I mean, there were some announcements on the whole more of the DC All In than what we get in the previews for this.
yeah, so I've got a rant on that already in my notes. So
All right.
on the All In, yeah.
Are you all out?
Pretty much so. Of course, I'm pretty much all out on DC anyway. So I'm only reading like 2 DCs a month, maybe 3. I think I'm reading 3. I'm reading Batman, Detective, and Wonder Woman right now. So
yeah.
So I did start Omega Man, Tom King's Omega Man a few days ago.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, it's confusing as heck.
It is. I didn't enjoy it. I gotta tell you, that's the one King book that I did not enjoy at all.
I'm just like, I think I needed to know more about these characters going in than I did. But then I also suspect that they're probably nothing like the original characters.
No, they're not really. No, I can't.
Yeah.
It was very weird. It was before I even knew much about King. I think I'd maybe read some of his Grayson, which I thought was good.
Hmm.
But
Well, the first issue was like half of it was like in an alien language, and they don't tell you what they're saying.
yeah,
You know, and it's just like I don't have any idea what's going on.
you didn't have your interlac translator.
No, I did not. And they did say Alpha and Omega. You know, there'd be alien script Alpha, alien script Omega, alien script Alpha. You know, so it was tough. So I'm getting used to it as I move forward, but you know.
It's if you have the bar set low, or the expectations set low, it'll be fine. But I wanted to see Kyle Rayner, in something, but that's where it ended.
Because that book's been out. How old is that now? 10 years?
Oh, at least, yeah.
Yeah.